Awesome. How you guys doing? All right. Well, how many of y'all remember the rules from yesterday? Do we need to go over them again? Are you good? How many rules are there? 3. All right, we're good to go. Let me ask you another question. How many of y'all remember your first date? Oh, that's sad. How many of y'all are waiting for your first date? All right. I want to tell you about my first date. My first date was in high school, and there's this girl, and her name is not important here, and I loved her at first sight. So I decided I'm going to ask her out. Okay, so I call her, and her mom answers, and I hang up. You get it, come on. Yeah, so I call again, and we do this for about 2 weeks, and I finally work up the guts to ask her out on a date. So the date is going to be at her house. Now, as a parent of 5 kids, I think this is a great idea. As a high school student with no kids, this was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard of. But we're going to do it. So I show up to her house, and I show up in my dad's Mountain Dew green Ford F-150, 1976. That's important to the story. We'll come back around to it. This is my dad's midlife crisis car. So important to the story. Hold on to that. So we go in, and we're going to have beans and franks. And so we're sitting around the table, and we're having beans and franks. I'm thinking, hey, this is cool. And I have made it through 90% of this meal without spilling anything, which is a huge success for me. That has nothing to do with my hands. I'm just, as I said yesterday, an idiot. So I have issues. So I said, hey, can I have some more lemonade? I'm feeling on the edge here. I'm going to actually, I'm going to get something else. They said, can I have some more lemonade? And they hand me, now this is back in the early 80s, they hand me the largest Tupperware liquid holding device there is. And every time I tell this story, it gets bigger. So he said, yeah, here's some lemonade, or here's the lemonade. And it's full to the brim, because apparently we haven't poured any out. So I take that lemonade and I pour it and I do this. And it is like one of those slow motion wave machines. The lemonade goes, and that lid goes, I'm not even trying. Lemonade everywhere, on all the plates, on everything. And everybody's jumping back from the table, And so we sit back down, and I got some looks from the parents. And I get these looks a lot. The first one is from the dad. And it's there's no way you're good enough for my daughter look. Okay, he's probably right. The second look is a look I get a lot. And it's kind of interesting. If you're different in any way and it's visual, this is the look you get. That is so sad. That is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Which I guess it is. So, but I figure out, okay, it can't get any worse. I've made my mistake. Everything's good. Oh, no. It's not how it works. So here's what our date's going to look like. We're going to Phoenix College. This is in Phoenix, Arizona. Her parents are going to go to class. We're going to use the library. Cheap date. I'm a big spender. So we're going to the library, and we getting ready to leave the library. Her dad, I think, felt kind of bad for us, and he comes and gets us. You know what? I'm going to take you across to Mary Coyle Ice Cream. Mary Coyle is kind of like Bluebell of Phoenix, but not really like Bluebell. So we're going, and we got to run across the road to get to this ice cream. Now, let me bring you up to speed a little bit. As Courtney explained, I got one finger on each hand, and I got one finger on, okay, that's weird, one toe on each foot. How weird would that be? That's creepy right there. Hello. Wow. So I got one toe on each foot. Now, this is really important because something you need to know about me, and I'm going to drive you nuts. I know that because I didn't ever stand still. Something you need to know about me is I cannot run fast and stop, okay? If I do that, I run fast, stop, and I have to run and slow down to a stopping walk, okay? So she's got her arm in mine because, I'm cool. First date, I got my swagger on. It looked much better, 70 pounds ago. And we're walking, and we come to the street. And we're going to cross the street to the median. And there's no cars coming this way, but there's cars going this way. Or in the UK, there's no cars going this way, but there's some going that way. I don't know. Totally made that up on the fly. Let me write that down. So, anyway, we run to the median. She's got her arm in mine. We run to the median and stop dead. And here's where I learn about the transfer of energy. I throw her in front of an oncoming car, lay her out flat. Cars are squealing to a stop, and the dad's going, ooh. And I'm censoring for you. I think there's somebody here that can do all that cussing for me. So this is what I heard. So she's laid out. Dad is yelling, and I'm like, look, I'm standing. I stopped, Brandon, I stopped. So we get her up out of the street, and I figure it can't be worse. This cannot get any worse. Oh, it can. So we get back in. I didn't get the ice cream. We just went back to the cars. We get in the car, and I'm sitting behind Dad so he can't reach me. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. If you've had parents with long arms, you know. So I'm sitting behind him. I'm hiding off in the corner. She is sitting over here on her side, blowing on the raspberries that are all over her. I mean, she is raspberry. And the mom looks at me, and it's that look. That is so sad. It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. So we get home, and here's where it happens. I get in my dad's 1976 Mountain Dew Green Ford F-150, the midlife crisis truck. This truck could almost pull the front wheels off the ground. It was so fast. I mean, it was just really quick. Had a 390 in it, which I have no idea what that means. It could be a 390, 391, whatever it takes. So I get in, the whole family's out front. It's like the Cleaver family. They're waving at me. I know the dad's just there to make sure I'm leaving. The mom's there to say, that's the saddest thing she's ever seen. And the kids are there, probably just to make sure I'm leaving also. So I get in the truck. Let me tell you something about the Ford F-150, the 1976 version. The light switch is over here, and it's a pull knob, okay? So I get in the truck, and one of the cool things about having one finger is you can drive like this. You don't need one of those knobs. You just kind of do this, and it looks really cool. You're like, I mean, how cool does this look? Yes, I'm taken. Sorry, ladies. So I'm driving like this, you know, and so I got my hand. I'm actually using this hand. I've got my hand, and I've got to come off. They live on a major street, and I've got to come off this street and make a U-turn and drive that way because we're in the USA. And so you go that way. And so I make this turn, and I realize I've not got any lights on, okay? So I've got my hand cranked all the way this way. The wheel's cranked here, and I do about the dumbest thing I've ever done. I reach for the light switch. You see the size of that finger? That's all 5 rolled into one. And I put it up under that knob, and it gets stuck. And in pure fear, I punch it. Roar! And that thing comes alive. It comes over the median, through their grass, and back out onto the street. And there. And then I take off. I'm driving home the whole way this way. This does not look cool. Still taken. I get home, and my dad was a high school teacher, and he taught at this high school. And this particular girl he had as a student and as a basketball player on his basketball team. I get home, and I'm in tears. Oh, it was horrible. And I'm crying, and I'm telling him the story, and you know what he did? The same thing you're doing. He laughed. He cried with me, but it's because he was laughing so hard. Oh my gosh. This was the night. This was a pivotal night for me. I remember this night vividly because this is the night I realized that I'm different. Now, you're like, really? It's like that day I woke up and went, oh my gosh! When did this happen? Nobody told me. Now, it's when I began to think about the fact that I'm different. And I got to tell you, that night I was like, thank you. I'm so glad I'm different. That's a lie. I was really struggling. You see, that was the night that I decided, man, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if this is fun. And this is the first thing I want you to walk away with today. We're all different. As individuals, as companies, as departments and companies, we're different. Sometimes it's very visible. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's hidden. Sometimes it's hard to understand. But we're all different. or we're all challenged. Let me tell you about a day in my life yesterday. It's a fun day. Yesterday morning, I get off the airplane, and I've got a sniffle. Because I'm in San Antonio, not Colorado, I've got a sniffle. And I was, I'm gonna stop and get some Kleenex, and I'm tired. I got up at 4 a.m. in Colorado, got on a plane, so I saunter into one of these airport stores, and I, there's the panel of all the the things that are wrapped all alike, and it's like, pliers and, dynamite. It's just all the same. So I grab a thing of Kleenex, and I go over to the counter, and I throw it down, and the lady goes, "Did you mean to buy those?" And I look down, and I don't understand why Kleenex and Kotex look so much alike. And I don't play it cool. I got a wife and 5 kids, and I still go, "Oh, no! And my wife's like, "You're an idiot." Later on in that day, I give a major presentation to a major company, and I have a major misspelling. I won't tell you who it was, but did not go well. And then last night, I partied hard out here, I was having fun. I was doing leaded Coke, straight up, not the diet stuff. I told the bartender 2 more and I'll be naked on that table. No more for me. And he said, "I guarantee you if that's the case, no more." Then when I left last night, we got all the way to the hotel. You could see the hotel in our eyes. Like, "Hey, there's my hotel. Where's my bag?" I left my bag here. And the driver, you can see, he's like, "You gotta be kidding me." So we turned around. I don't know if anybody saw me last night sneak back in. And I would have been okay, but it's like, it's clean underwear. You gotta have it. But this is a day in a life of Eric Johnson. So the moral of the story is, we're all challenged, but not as much as my wife, who has to take care of me.